Episode 3, What I Learned from Jennifer Pastiloff About How to Move Forward Even When I'm Afraid. Within a week of me deciding to launch this podcast, I happened across Jennifer Pastiloff's Instagram announcement that she was offering a one-day writing workshop Saturday, January 13th, 2024, called Allow. The timing seemed fortuitous. Parentheses. I promise I'll come back to the workshop. Since reading Shonda Rhimes' book, Year of Yes, I have this thing that I double down on practicing every so often, where if I see a random request, I tell myself it was meant for me, and I make myself say yes to it, even if, especially if, I don't want to. That's how I ended up doing a photo shoot for AARP a couple of months after I'd shaved my head in solidarity with my best friend whose hair had begun to fall out because of her chemotherapy. It's also how I ended up organizing the state of Oregon for a presidential candidate in 2019. And it's how I ended up signing up for Jennifer Pastiloff's writing workshop. I'd first met Jennifer Pastiloff when she came to Powell's Books to read her first book, On Being Human, a memoir of waking up, living real, and listening hard. Just by the title, you know it's my kind of book, right? I hadn't read the book yet when I urged my husband to attend the reading with me, but we both went and we were both moved. We even attended the after party at Mother's Bistro. Over the next few days, I read Jennifer's book, connected with her online, as I do, and I followed her ever since. So we're caught up now, right? Remember how last week I said, I'm learning that even when I'm terrified, there's a huge payoff in showing up, making mistakes, and doing my best? You remember that, right? Jennifer Pastiloff lives by this mantra, only better, because she finds beauty along the way. Knowing this about Jennifer, I was confident that this workshop arrived with perfect timing because after the initial giddiness at the thought of starting a podcast, overwhelm and fear smacked me upside the head, and I found myself paralyzed. Now that you know where I'm coming from, let's talk about my takeaways from the workshop. One of the first things that Jennifer did was to remind the attendees that our thoughts of other people being better than me, having written books, having held workshops and classes, all of that means nothing in the context of me. Let me repeat that. The fact that other people have done X or are accomplished at X means nothing in the context of me. In other words, I was going to hear some things during that workshop. As the workshop progressed, attendees were asked to read their writing, and most of it was extraordinary. I mean, it's the kind of writing that expressed perfectly what I was feeling, that I wished I would have written, that made me feel like, why would I even bother to write when it's been done and done so well? She nipped that in the bud by reminding us that other people's accomplishments mean nothing in the context of me. And then she gave us a writing prompt. She asked us to write about a time when we were bad or when someone else told us we were bad. We were asked to write about what being bad meant to us. She urged us to tell the truth, to consider that maybe we weren't bad. Maybe we were afraid. Ouch, it's like she saw me. As I wrote about my experience attending my first concert, Survivor, at the age of 22, I realized I knew my parents and my grandparents wouldn't approve of me attending this secular concert. Was it bad that a grown-ass adult was attending a concert? No, it wasn't bad. I wasn't bad. But I perpetuated my assumption of their belief that what I was doing was bad. My second takeaway, Jennifer reminded me that I get to change my mind. How many times have I been afraid to do something, take that first step, for fear that I would get it wrong, as if it were in cement? Whatever gave me the idea that starting something was permanent, that I had to finish it, that I couldn't stop? No, I can stop. In fact, the faster I make mistakes, the sooner I get to figure things out. But I have to start. I have to press play. Jennifer asked us to explore and discover what we didn't allow. Where had I closed doors that I might want to open? Third takeaway, and this one hit hard. Jennifer asked, where am I getting in my own way? Where am I deciding how hard something is going to be ahead of time? Am I willing to not know? Between the time when I decided to start a podcast and the overwhelm hit, I'd somehow decided that starting a podcast was going to be hard, and I hadn't even realized it. Good grief. Where else am I doing this in my life? Fourth takeaway, the idea of the thing is worse than the thing. Fifth, don't take yourself too seriously. It's okay to play and be silly. And sixth, be willing to suck. You're not going to be good. Let yourself off the hook at the beginning. And boy, have I done that. My website is a hot mess. The YouTube channel, don't even look at it. But I'm showing up and I'm doing a little something every day, and I'm letting myself off the hook for the rest of it. I am willing to suck at this because I know it's the only way I'm going to get better. And my worth isn't defined by this podcast or my process for figuring out my Act 4. Taylor Nardone says, your success is inevitable. If it scares you, do it. Do it scared and do it unprepared. This is your open to anything attached to nothing era. If it's not this, it's something better. I'd like to think that's true. And that's it for this week. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you. Drop me a note and let me know if any of these takeaways hit you the way they did me. You can email me at mary@maryrarick.com. My last name is Rarick. Put My Act 4 in the subject line. And don't forget to join me next week. I'll be talking about playing small and hiding on the sidelines and how that kept me from showing up as the main character in my story.